Welcome everybody to the stream this evening. Right now, or sorry, this morning, we're going to be talking about the upcoming severe weather events. We have one down in southeastern Texas for Monday, and then we also have one in Mississippi for Tuesday. So we're going to be going into this in depth with our new storm chaser for the channel, Lexi here. She's going to be talking.
Morning, Landon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. How's the weather up there in Pennsylvania?
Pretty chilly. Yeah, it's very
Yeah, it's
cold up here.
52 degrees here. Nice and warm.
That's awesome. I'm freezing up here, so not really having too much fun. But storms are starting to fire up here, so that's pretty good.
Well, I hear you want to talk about some weather.
Yep, exactly. And you're going to be chasing down in Mississippi on Tuesday, right?
I will be on Tuesday, but first and foremost, I want to cover our first risk on Monday in Texas. And I stayed up pretty early this morning to find out the update from SVC, and it finally came in about 3:30ish, 4 o'clock this morning. And they have actually extended the risk area into Houston, which is over 2.5 million people for the population. And I could tell you, that's a really hard city to evacuate from personal experience. Um, so what we are looking at, so in the, I believe, afternoon, we will start seeing um, super cells start to initiate around central Texas. And that's actually our biggest concern because all the dynamics are in place for potentially a pretty significant outbreak, to be honest with you. Um, my biggest concern is that I-35 corridor from just north of Austin, so let's call it Temple, Georgetown, and northward between Temple, Georgetown, and Dallas. Dallas is going to get severe weather, but it's not going to be as significant as it will be between Dallas and Austin. So we're talking Waco, um, talking Hillsboro, we're talking West, we're talking Corsicana, Mustang, anything easterly from central and eastward has a pretty high probability of seeing a tornado sometime Monday afternoon. This is what we're looking at right now is a guesstimation model um, reflectivity what could be Monday afternoon. And you can see we have a lot of supercells that are in was forming as a squall line. Now this is a really slow moving front. So it starts off in central Texas up the 35 corridor and it moves easterly into East Texas. So if you're in Huntsville, College Station, Hearn, like I said, Corsicana, Mustang, all up the I-45 corridor, you are in the risk for probably seeing large hail or more than likely a significant tornado come through. So if you if you can zoom in, Landon.
Yeah, for sure. We're at. Are we going to
So Houston. So by Houston, by 8 o'clock, by 8 p.m. Monday evening, this line will be over the Houston Metroplex. And
and you can see there, yeah, we have really strong hail cores right there. A lot of strong updrafts, and that helicity is very concerning. If here, I can also I can switch to, let's go to the tornado outlook for there too, and you can see we have um a 10% hatched risk for much of the areas, including Houston and Waco. So what's your opinion for the tornado scale on this? What do you think is going to be really occurring? Here's the significant tornado area here. Here's the hatched risk area. So this is really the most concerning area for the tornadoes, according to SBC. And what's your thoughts on this, Tabitha or Lexi?
I think between Roans Prairie on Highway 30, like outside of College Station, from east of College Station, like Roans Prairie, Huntsville, um, into Lufkin. Um, there's a lot of little communities over there, Point Blank. Um, I think there are more risks to see a tornado, pretty large tornado. If you remember back in 2020, there is actually an EF3 that went through, which is east of Lufkin. And that was actually a pretty long track tornado that went into Louisiana. I think we were looking at the same conditions Monday as we did back in 2020 with that situation out there. Um, it's really desolate out there. So Sam Houston State National Forest. So there's a lot of little communities tucked away in the woods over there. And I really do think that they will see something very significant on Monday night, and it's gonna be after sunset. So the risk of night tornadoes, nocturnal tornadoes, is pre pre pretty. I mean, we're pretty sure of it. I mean,
Yeah, for
if you
sure.
can look at yeah, if you can look at look at the models and
I mean, we're already using the
It really,
H.
it really starts. It really starts to fire up in Central Texas. I think you will see pretty at least one or two significant tornadoes in Central Texas, but I think most of the outbreak potential is going to be from Central and East Texas into Louisiana throughout the night. And then, if we can go ahead and move easterly, please.
Yep. Hang on.
So throughout the night, this front, it kind of slows down about Houston Metroplex. So really, really slows down to a crawl. And throughout the night, we still run that risk, a great risk of tornadoes, nighttime tornadoes through Louisiana. And then throughout the day, also in Louisiana.
That's another
Yeah,
concerning factor where this becomes nearly stationary. It kind of sticks
that's
over and it
right.
starts to
Along
shift.
the 35 corridor.
It starts to shift
That's
more
right.
northward.
Along the 35 corridor. That's why I'm saying I expect at least one or two significant tornadoes out of that.
So,
And then
um, I do believe that
yeah.
hail will become a big threat as well, as I was saying, and also, what's your opinion on the flood threat here? Because this is going to kind of develop into a stationary motion, kind of a stationary front that's going to push us northward, I do believe. So, what's your, even though flooding is not really the main concern here on the channel, because we're mostly talking about tornadoes, what's your thoughts about flooding?
In Houston, I would be concerned because of the heavy rain, and there's not really proper drop out or drainage because it's a large metropolitan area. So I would be concerned mostly about the Houston metro area for possibly some maybe minor flooding. But Texas is in a really in a really big drought right now. So any rain that falls is going to soak right up like a sponge, to be honest with you.
That is true. I guess the ground will be very absorbent. So if you look here, we have about 9.4 inches up there in in east central Texas, and then we have all these areas of 6 inches just northwest of Houston. So kind of what you were saying. I guess this will probably be absorbed because Texas has been in a significant drought, especially western Texas, and a lot of wildfire
Can
issues
you
out there too.
can you zoom up and go north a little bit?
Yes.
Just north of Conroe, like New Waverly.
Is that
Scroll
up
up.
in
North of Houston.
Oh, okay, there we go. So
Can you
right up
zoom
here.
in?
Mm-hmm.